Alrighty, guys. Can you all hear me? If you're in, go ahead and you can type in the chat box if you can hear me. I'm going to wait for people to start trickling in. Attendees are going to be coming in soon. There we go. Yes. Okay, awesome. Great. So we still got some time. I'm a few minutes early, just getting started. Want to make sure everything's in order. And we're looking good so far. So where are you guys coming from? Everyone who's responded in the chat, are you from East Coast, West Coast? Where are you watching from? I know, well, right now I'm in Arizona. It's Michigan, California. Nice. Awesome. Very good. So right now I'm in, we live in Florence, Arizona, which is about an hour, 15 minutes outside of Phoenix. And right now it's about 115. And it's just crazy because the summer has just come full force. Okay, so we got Texas, Georgia, California, Michigan, Florida. Awesome. Glad you guys could all make it. And we're just going to wait a few more minutes as people continue to trickle in. I've had a lot of people reach out to me and say, hey, I'm not going to be able to make it because I've got the live. I can't make it to the live event, but I can make it to the or watch the replay later. So it looks like California is dominating right now, which works out because Arizona is on the same time as California. So it's good. And just while we continue to let people trickle in, let me hear some more about your experience so far with PTCAS. Have you guys had a good response so far? Have you started on PTCAS? Are you waiting on everything? What are you guys up to in terms of PTCAS? And we'll have time for questions at the end. Obviously, today is primarily about essays and being able to help you guys with your PTCAS essay because it's the most long duration portion of the application, I feel like. So what are you guys up to with PTCAS? And if you're still like, I don't know if I want to share, or if you haven't done it at all, that's totally fine. Like it literally just opened this week and this is the soft opening. Okay, Lizzie. Start looking at it on the 15th. Okay. Awesome. Reapplicant, breezing through. Okay, cool. Debbie, that's great. Okay. I'm sorry if I butcher your name. Najda? That has happened. I've had a couple of applicants reach out to me about that and say, hey, the programs I want to get into aren't currently listed on PTCAS. And what I would do is I would reach out to them directly and just ask if there's a reason why they're lagging behind. Some programs might just be in a little bit of a race to get everything on there and to update their profile. So you're not the only one that's happened to. So definitely reach out and email those programs directly and ask them if there's some reason in particular that they're not necessarily on yet. Okay, let's see here. Looks like most people have started the application, but they're learning how to navigate it. Annie, transcript info, tedious and confusing. Yes, I'm gonna agree with you. That's probably besides your essays, that's like the most long, tedious process. Is just making sure you get that right. But it's definitely doable. And one thing I'd recommend is that you go ahead and you take the time to get an unofficial transcript and literally just put that in exactly the same way. So most people can get them a PDF of your unofficial transcript off of like your student portal and then just start entering that way because it is tedious, and then you can save some money in terms of not having to get another official transcript because the information is the same. Okay, reapplicants. I believe they will be available for viewing on July 1st. Yeah. So Debbie's right. There are some schools that you can't even enter anything So you can still, or you can enter your information, but the program isn't going to be available until a little bit later. Some people are waiting until that date as well. What about entering retaking courses? So if it's on your transcript at all, Annie, you have to enter it, because PTCAS is going to look at your transcript from what you put in versus what the transcript that you send to them, and they're going to make sure everything matches up. So if you're entering retaken courses, you're going to have to put those in as well. Yeah. Nice, Lizzie. Good. That's great. Save yourself a little bit of money where you can, right? Okay, so it's 9 o'clock. And we're going to have some more people trickle in. I know there's, like I said, there's a lot of people who reached out to me and said, hey, I want to go to the webinar, but I can't make it. So I'm going to watch the replay. So let's go ahead and jump in, guys. As you probably know by now, my name is Sean. I am the physical therapy application coach. I've been a practicing physical therapist for 2 going on 3 years. And today I'm going to be talking with you all about the anatomy of what makes up a great PTCAS essay. I am super excited to be able to share this information with you, because essays are probably my favorite part of the application process, which that makes me kind of a weirdo, because for you guys, that most likely is like the part you're dreading the most, hence why you're here. So you've come to the right place. And welcome again. Like, if wherever you're coming from, I'm so glad that you took the time to tune in. It shows that you are taking your application seriously and that you are going to be a force to be reckoned with during this application season, because you're investing in yourself, your time, your energy, your future, and it's going to be much better for you because you come away from this webinar with a ton of information to help you start knocking out your application essays. So really excited. Let's go ahead and keep rolling. Also, happy Juneteenth, which is now a federally recognized holiday. Awesome day to be able to celebrate the abolition of slavery officially in the United States, which was a tremendous event. And I hope we all can take some time to have some reverence for those who've paved the way for that and who made it possible, and all the progress that's been made there. So happy Juneteenth to everybody. If you haven't learned about the holiday, go look it up afterwards. It's a great day to celebrate, and happy that we can have that be a recognized holiday. Okay, so a few housekeeping items. If the video freezes, please don't panic. Just holler in the chat box, let me know. And don't forget, there's going to be a replay that will be sent out. So if you feel like you missed something or there's a lag, don't worry about it. You're going to be able to get access to this information later when the replay is sent out. And guys, I'm telling you right now, you are not going to want to just sit here idly and just dink around for the next hour. Have a pen and paper ready, have a window open where you can take some notes and start doing some brainstorming, because the more effort you put into this, the more you're going to get out of it. And I'm really excited to be able to share this information with you, but the information won't do much if you hear it and you don't do anything with it. So please lock in for the next hour, focus, let's pay attention, and let's give you some awesome tidbits and pieces of information to help you knock your PTCAS essay out of the park. Okay. So if you do have additional questions, I'm going to keep the chat box open so I can kind of keep an eye on if people have questions in particular. But what I think I'm going to do, just for the sake of time, because I know some people are like, I'm going to watch the webinar and then I got to jump off. I'm going to wait and answer questions right at the end. So if you've got a question that comes up, go ahead, type it in the chat box. I'll get to it at the end of the presentation. And our runtime for the webinar is going to be about an hour or so. And I'll stay 15 to 20 minutes afterwards to answer any question you guys have, mostly starting about essays, but then we can get into more specifics about the application if you've got things in particular that you want to ask about. Okay. Okay. So I want to give you guys some time. Why are you here today? Of all the things you could do on a Saturday morning, why did you decide to show up to an essays webinar to help you with your PTCAS essay? And while you guys are typing, I'll give you some common scenarios, right? Let me take a drink real quick. So one of the most common things that I see applicants have is they feel like they are, quote unquote, not a good writer, right? And that one breaks my heart, because the way we've been taught to write is completely different than how we're going to write an application essay. You were probably really good at writing like a general persuasive essay or debating an argument or being able to, go point by point and follow a rubric. because that's how we've been trained in school. But writing application essays is different, right? Some of you may feel like you're a weaker applicant, or you have some lower GPA or GRE scores, and you're like, I really want to try to find a way to boost my application. Maybe that's why you're here. Maybe you're, I know I saw several reapplicants in the chat box, and I'm super excited to have reapplicants here. These are some of my favorite people to work with, because most of the time it was just a tiny little mistake here and there that led to them having to reapply. Regardless, they're bigger and better coming back and figuring out what things they can do to improve their application. Let's make sure we get it right this time, right? So that's why I think a lot of you are here. Some of you might be here because you're really anxious about the essay. Maybe you don't know how you stand out. Maybe you're afraid to be able to put yourself out there and to talk about why you are an awesome person, why you deserve to get in. All right, here's everything. Non-traditional applicant. Want this to be a stronger part of my application. Finally passed the GRE. Congratulations, Anthony. That's awesome. And you want to make your application the best you can be. That's great. You've come to the right place. Olivia, I'm so sorry you're stressed out. We're going to do everything we can to get your stress levels under control, because high cortisol levels, increased stress, decreases creativity, decreases productivity. You got to get the nerves to calm down a little bit, okay? Emily, you're afraid you're not interesting enough. We're going to debunk the heck out of this one. Okay, guys? Abigail, do you think the same thing? Ava, I don't know how to tell my stories. Which to tell? Oh, man. Okay, perfect. You guys, you are in the absolute right place right now with your concerns that you have. I know you're going to be able to jump in, and we're going to be able to help you out. Okay? Marlo, standing out. Absolutely. You guys are on point. Okay. What is my goal for today is to give you guys some concrete direction to help you tackle your PTCAS and other supplemental essays as quickly and efficiently as possible, and to help you decrease your stress with this process. It's so crucial that you guys realize there's more to life than PTCAS, and I'm going to help you. I promise you, I'm going to help you with this webinar. I also will be sharing an exclusive limited time offer to work with me this application cycle, with your application essays and beyond, right? Whatever help you need, I'm going to be here to help you. So that's at the end. I'll be sharing more about that offer, but just so you understand, that's coming. Okay, so this is, let's start with first and foremost, the most important thing about this picture. This is my wife and my daughter, Nora. And as you can probably see from this picture, my wife is pregnant with our second baby, which is super exciting. She's due in a couple weeks, which is fun and exciting, reliving all those different things of when our other daughter, Nora, was born, and remembering all of the first few nights and things like that. It's exciting, but nerve-wracking at the same time. So this is why, guys, in so many ways, I love my family, and I want to be able to support them and to help them. And I know so many of you, you're doing what you're doing to help make your family, your current family, or your future family proud, right? And to take care of them. Thank you guys for the congratulations. I really appreciate that. It's gonna be a fun time. We're excited. So my family is the driving motivation. Besides working with pre-PTs to help them improve this profession and to get the best people in, and to help you guys discover your why and why you deserve to be in this profession, I'm working to help my family, and they are supporting me every step of the way. So I'm so thankful for them, grateful for the hours I spend away from them, that they're willing to support me as I help you guys in this journey. Some statistics that I wanted to share with you guys. So if you apply to PTCAS, the average for people getting in to physical therapy school is right around 50 to 60%, depending on the application cycle. Applicants who work with me are going to have a 90% first-time acceptance rate for qualified applicants. Now, what is a qualified applicant? This is someone who they didn't accidentally make a mistake. They met their deadlines. They got their references in on time, like all those little things. If you didn't make a minor mistake, these people who are coming in have a 90% first-time acceptance rate, which I'm really proud of, and is something that's been holding consistently because of the process that I've been working through. I've been coaching for over 8 years, guys, and I think that plays a big part in why I've been able to help people and to be successful. Is I've had a lot of experience, and I've learned, I joke that I've applied to PTCAS over 1,000 times because of the different people I've worked with, and I've learned what things work and what things don't work. And as a result of that, that makes me uniquely qualified to help you guys out. When I was at NAU, so I went to NAU for my DPT degree, or Northern Arizona University. Great program if you guys haven't looked into them. They're one of the least expensive public universities, even as an out-of-state applicant that's out there, and it's a great value education. So highly recommend NAU. But when I was at NAU, I had the opportunity to assist in interviews and to help review application essays before applicants came in to receive their interviews. This was a tremendously eye-opening experience for me, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about it. But that further solidified the vision of what I wanted to do here at Physical Therapy Application Coach. In the last 3 years, and these numbers have changed just a little bit because I've been continuing. I've had early bird applicants who have already started working with me on their essays. I've done, now it's 527 application essays edited in the last 3 years, and done almost 200 mock interviews. So I've got a lot of experience, a lot of opportunities to work with different applicants. And this is me. There's no one else who works here. It's just me. I had a temporary intern for a while. She was doing marketing for me, but in terms of working with customers, it's just me. And because of all this experience, guys, I'm here to help you and let you in on all the secrets and the tips and tricks that over 8 years of coaching experience has led me to. So let's dive in a little bit more. As I mentioned, baby number 2 is coming. So I am offering you guys an exclusive offer, but last application cycle, I worked with over 150 applicants, and it was the busiest year I had by far. It was awesome. Learned a ton from it, but I know with baby coming that I need to be respectful of you guys and also respectful of my family. So this year I've decided that I'm going to limit the number of clients that I'm working with to 50, which is a huge decrease, but that's the number that I'm working with now. That number has decreased even more because I've already had 10 people approach me and already ask. So now we're down to 40 spots. So just wanted to keep you in the loop on that. I'm not going to spend too much time. I'm not going to read through all these, but these are just some of the programs that applicants that have worked with me have been able to get accepted into these programs. There's over 100 programs on this list all over the country, big name schools, small name schools, and everywhere in between. Right. And I've been really grateful to spread my network and to be able to learn more about different programs as I help you guys with your particular situations. So yeah, those are all the different programs, A to Z, across the country, all over the place, and really excited to be able to continue to add to that list as well. This is a picture of my wedding day. This is my wife and I and our parents. Guys, right when I was getting ready to apply, I'd gotten married 2 weeks ago. Our anniversary was on the 12th of June. And a few weeks after we got back from our honeymoon, PTCAS opened. And I was so nervous, right? I remember sitting where you guys are at now, being newly married, feeling this increased pressure to get out there and provide and help take care of my wife. And just feeling all of this pressure that I didn't want to let her down. I didn't want to have all the effort and the energy that I put in the last several years to go to waste. And I was so nervous. And I know what that feels like. And I want to let you know that there's a way to circumvent that and to give you direction and focus and to help you realize that this anxiety, this stress that you're feeling right now does not last forever. We're going to get you through it and help you feel productive and proactive. And this can come because of experience, because I've, again, working with applying to PTCAS over 1,000 times, that I've learned what can help people calm down and help them feel focused. And that's what we're going to work on. Okay, so let's jump into the content. Application essays are more important than you think. A lot of applicants, you talked about, I want to stand out. I want to make my application stand out, or maybe I've got a couple areas of my application that I'm concerned about. So when I was at NAU, as I mentioned, I helped with reviewing application essays and performing interviews. This was extremely enlightening, and I learned so much from this experience because I reviewed 17 application essays, okay? And NAU is a very competitive program. They get over 1,200 applicants each year, and they take right around 90 applicants between their 2 different campuses that they have. So these are some of the best applicants from across the country. And of the 17 essays that I read, only 2 of them caught my attention and were interesting. So for all my math people, that's less than 12%. And I thought about, wow, so if this many applicants who are really, really qualified, if they aren't writing great essays, think about the overall pre-PT population. And I'm confident that I can at least say less than 10% of applicants write really good essays. And it just made me so sad to think about that, to think that this is an area of the application that does make a huge difference. Because what I saw from the 2 applicants that wrote really good essays, their scores in terms of their GPA, their GRE, their observation hours were actually a little bit lower. And it made me sit there and think, man, think about all the other applicants that maybe had lower numbers that if they were to write really good essays could get an interview. The other thing that really stood out is these people, as soon as I read their essays, I was instantly much more excited to meet them during the interview process than the other applicants because I already felt like I knew them. I had a connection with them. So I can't overstate this, guys. Essays are crucial to helping your application, whether it's to get you an interview or to get you an acceptance offer. They are so much more important than we give them credit for. And if you take it seriously, I promise you, this can make a huge difference in your application. So let's go back to this last application cycle, okay? The COVID application cycle, which was crazy. So much stuff changed and, in the whole world, but even especially for pre-PTs who are applying because they're like, what do I do? Everything's changing. Do I go forward? Do I wait? And I can't tell you how many applicants I worked with this last application cycle. If you want to, you can go watch all my testimonials on YouTube or Instagram and hear from those people directly that said that their essays got brought up in their interview. They're like, oh, we love this part of your essay. Could you tell us more about that? That is all the feedback I need to know that this system works. And being able to help you figure out what to write about and how to write about it, that getting that feedback time and time again lets me know we're on the right track and we're starting to uncover what really helps these essays stick and go the distance. So how do you make your essay more interesting and memorable? Even if you feel like you're a run-of-the-mill or boring applicant, which I'm going to stop you guys right there, okay? I'm getting off soapbox for a second. The only thing that you, as an applicant, have to offer a program is your own unique life experience, okay? And each and every one of you, even if you have a twin who's like decided to become a pre-PT as well, and you've done everything exactly the same, no 2 people have had the exact same experiences in life. Being able to take ownership over your personal experience and share that in a compelling way is how you do it. So that brings us to our first point. You're going to use stories from your life, not like made up, but like personal experiences from your life that showcase your greatest strengths as an applicant, okay? There was a researcher out of Princeton, as I was doing more and more research to understand, okay, well, what makes really effective marketing, right? Like if you look at like Apple and Doritos and all these different marketing tactics that they have, you'll remember something either because it's funny and you'll be like, oh yeah, that was funny. But if you want something to be impactful and to really stick with you, most of these are emotional. Right? Like they play on your emotions in a good way. They'll like positively show like someone caring for someone else, going above and beyond, taking care of someone that you love, different things like that. And using stories, people who effectively use stories in marketing, in business, in academia, in presentations, these are the people who can get their audiences to agree with the points that they're making. It's above all other human skills that we have. Great storytellers get the job done. So we need to help you learn how to become a great storyteller. And in our society today, right, we are looking at people are starved for authenticity. So much of what we get is filtered and edited, and we are looking for someone to be honest and authentic about their own personal experience and what it meant to them and how it changed their lives. That is what we're going to talk about. And that's how you make your application essay interesting and memorable. In addition to that, you can also use a lot of imagery. So I'm going to give you some examples to help you see, and also emotion. Because as I mentioned, human beings are emotional creatures. As much as you want to think that you're a logical person, even your logic is inherently tied to emotional understanding of what that logic does for you. We're all emotional beings. And so that's the universal language that we all speak. If you can use positive and uplifting and engaging emotions to make your reader want to come along with you for the ride, that's all that matters. Okay. Is this making sense? Are you guys picking this up? Like, I'm going to give you some examples so it makes it a little bit more concrete, but are you getting the drift for where this is coming from? Go ahead and type in the chat box if you're confused, or if you're excited and you're like, yeah, I can see how this works. Okay, so let me take another drink real quick before I read this long paragraph. So, okay, good. Making sense. We're on board. Great, guys. So this is an applicant that I worked with a couple application cycles ago. And I'll read this to you. This is not a bad essay by any stretch, okay? When I decided to study abroad with semester at sea, I envisioned myself hiking across the Great Wall of China, skydiving over the Cape of South Africa, and gazing at the Taj Mahal at sunrise. Skydiving, oops, I said that already. What I was not prepared for were the unexpected moments I would share with the locals I met in each country, and the fact that several of these moments would completely alter my outlook on the world and my career path. I had always known that I wanted to go into the medical field. Cool stuff, right? Let's compare it with what we did after coaching, and then we'll talk about it. I gazed out the window of the rickety bus and watched the red dirt road wind through miles of lush green vegetation. My classmates and I were headed to an orphanage about an hour away from the capital city of Ghana in West Africa. I walked into the lobby of the orphanage and opened my backpack to distribute toys and school supplies to dozens of beaming children. I couldn't stop smiling as we played with the kids, running back and forth, playing basketball, and watching them play with a yo-yo for the first time. Difference, right? The difference that we have here is example number one. There's a lot of different ideas that are being shared, and it's hard for your reader to know where to focus their attention because of all these different ideas. It makes your narrative inconsistent. As we come here, I am coming with you on a journey right now. Can you envision yourself? Like, are you on this bus right now? Are you in the orphanage? Are you watching these kids run around? And she goes on to share a story that was like very personal. So I didn't want to include that, but man, this was one of my favorite essays because it grabbed me in every single way. Ava, yes, show, don't tell. That is the trick. That is the difference. And so for those of you who followed me on social media for a while, you know that that's one of my big herbs and spices. Show. It's like reading a story. Debbie, you got it. Perfect. Okay. Yes. Show, don't tell. That's the ticket. Okay. So in addition to this, so we got our storytelling ability. How can I stand out without sounding conceited? Because like I said, you need to make sure your strengths are being showcased in your stories. And I've had several applicants I worked with this week that it happens every year. It's so hard. It's a big part of who we are as future physical therapists. We're very self-deprecating. We don't like to have praise heaped on us. We're generally humble about that. But guys, if you're going to talk about in your application essay how a physical therapist that you shadowed or how a patient that you worked with was awesome, guess what? That physical therapist already got into PT school. That patient maybe doesn't want anything to do with physical therapy. Guess who's trying to get into PT school? You are. You are the one who needs to stand out in these essays. So I'm not saying to just toot your own horn and brag about yourself, but if you share stories that focus on your strengths as an applicant and focus on being authentic, telling the truth about what actually happened in an experience for you, and then follow that up with imagery and emotion, guys, you're going to stand out. People are going to believe you because, as we mentioned, people who are good storytellers get people on board with their message. So if you've got this great story and interlaced throughout the story are examples of how you have demonstrated attributes of a successful physical therapist, they're going to believe you. It's just a natural thing. Like, they're going to buy into it. And that is what is going to allow you to sell yourself as an applicant, to sell your strengths without sounding conceited. Again, is this making sense? Are you guys getting this? Do you see how powerful this is if properly harnessed? So, principles and process that I'm about to show you can be applied to any application essay whether it's your PTCAS essay, supplemental essays, whatever, right? You have to adapt it to your circumstances, but the process doesn't change. It only expands or contracts depending on how long or short the character count is, okay? Let's go next one. All right, so here is the prompt for this cycle. It's also the same one as the last cycle, okay? I'm going to read it. Every person has a story that has led them to a career. Since there are a variety of health professions that help others, this is the kicker. Please go beyond your initial interaction or experience with physical therapy and share the deeper story that has confirmed your decision to pursue physical therapy as your career. What do you all think of this prompt? I want you to go ahead, be honest, type in the chat box. I'm going to be honest with you. I hate this prompt. I think it's garbage because there's so many contradicting ideas that are coming in, and you don't put in a prompt what you don't want people to share because that's inherently what they end up sharing. I can't tell you how many applicants made this same mistake last application cycle. Please go beyond your initial interaction or experience with physical therapy. Guess what everyone wrote about? The first time they shadowed, when they had physical therapy, the first time they saw their mom or dad have physical therapy, right? It's challenging. Yes, it's all over the place. Thank you. I agree. If you love the prompt, maybe it's better, right? Maybe you're just a better reader than I am. But I think with a lot of people, it's intimidating. It's a trick question. It's baiting you. So you have to know how to sidestep that and to avoid these issues. So what I liken this to is, I have a YouTube video about this where I shared why I hate this prompt. Because when you first like somebody, if you're in like a romantic relationship with someone and you're like interested in pursuing them, what they see is they're just the best person in the world. Like they can do no wrong in your mind, right? And after you kind of get to know them, maybe you start dating, and after a certain period of time, you realize they're a human being and they're not just a perfect god or goddess, right? They're humans. They make mistakes. And you start to have your relationship mature. So maybe when you first show up to your first shadowing experience, you're like, oh my gosh, this is the best job ever. I just saw someone who was paralyzed walk. This is incredible, right? I'm going to do this every day. But then you shadow some more and you realize that not every day is glorious as a physical therapist. There's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes that's challenging and difficult. Doesn't mean it's not worth it, but you mature in your relationship. What is it that makes you still want to stick with this profession? After going through a long litmus test, what are the experiences that make you want to stick with it? Okay. And that's what I'm going to focus on, right? Is using it to help you focus on the deeper meaning behind why you want to be a physical therapist. Okay. Let's see what Olivia said here. Yes, exactly, Olivia. That's just what I said in my video. It's the exact same thing. It's the exact same thing. Yeah. Okay. All right, brainstorming. Let's talk about this. I am going to take you through the same process that I do with all of my clients, okay, when we first sit down to start doing an essay coaching. Now, guys, like I said, have your notes ready to go, because if you take this seriously and capture some ideas, this is going to give you a huge jump start to writing your PTCAS essay. Okay? All right. So step 1. Discuss why you really want to become a physical therapist. So as you guys are writing down some ideas, go ahead and listen to some of the feedback I'm going to give you. So how does PT allow you to help people or to use an understanding of anatomy in a way that you can't with any other profession? Okay. Now, the reason why I say that is because a lot of people say, I want to help people. That's why it's in the prompt. People are like, I want to help others. How can you help someone as a physical therapist that you can't help them as a bank person, someone who works at a bank, or as a physician, or as a personal trainer? How can you help someone as a physical therapist in a way that you can't in no other way? how can you use your understanding of physical therapy and the science of it to use anatomy in a way that you can't in any other profession, right? That's why you want to become a physical therapist. What are your future professional goals, right? Like, do you have a certain patient population that you really want to start working with? Do you want to open your own practice? Do you want to work with underserved individuals? Are you all about neuro and peds? Do you want to work with athletes? Like, really hone in on why you want to become a part of this profession, okay? Now, in addition to that, what unique ways are you going to serve this patient population? Okay, so if you guys are writing down some ideas, again, this is going to be on the replay. So if you need to pause when you watch the replay and sit down and brainstorm all this, go for it. Okay. Okay. Step 2. And I know we're going to be going kind of quick through this, but I want to make sure we get through everything so that way I can answer your guys' question in particular, and you can go back and watch the replay. Okay. So you're going to take an inventory of your greatest strengths. Now, this is literally like throw mud at the list. Write down whatever the heck you want to. Okay. This is going to, it gives you some adrenaline to be able to help someone. Absolutely, Isabel. Yeah, that's definitely true. Take an inventory of your greatest strengths. So start writing down anything. So a lot of people will say, I'm good with people. Okay. That's very generic. How are you good with people? What do you do to make someone's day? How do you connect well with other people? How do you communicate well with other people? What is it that you do? Be as specific as you can when writing down your strengths, because if you're just writing surface level strengths, it's not going to stick with your reader. Okay. Inevitably, you're going to have what starts to separate into 2 different buckets. Okay. You're going to have what I call like your people strengths and your ability to interact with others. And then you have your strengths related to more of like your character or your personality, just who you are inherently as a person. So this could be like perseverance, grit, stick-to-itiveness, adaptability, problem solving, all these different things, right? Like the list could go on and on. Start writing down different gifts and abilities that you have, and don't be ashamed to write stuff down. This is one of the more awkward times that I have with the people that I coach, because we sit down and we're looking across from each other and they are just scared to death to talk about themselves. That's why I'm there, though, is to help like draw this out of you, help you realize that you are awesome and you deserve to get into PT school. You have a lot more going for you than you think you do. And that's what I want you to do with making this list. Write down any and everything you can think of, and then number them 1 and 2. So it'll be maybe bucket 1 is like your personality or your people skills. Bucket 2 has to do with more of like your different ability to problem solve, to stick to it, to be perseverant, to overcome challenges, to overcome obstacles, whatever, those type of things. Okay. Include those things in your 2 buckets. Step number 2. Done. Any questions about that? Okay. Step number 3. Take an inventory of your personal experiences that showcase your greatest strengths. Okay. See, Autumn, I feel like putting that I want to work as a PDPT. Autumn, I'm going to get to that at the end. Okay. I'm going to get to that at the end. There's a way that we can work around that. So we're going to take an inventory of your experiences that showcase your greatest strengths as an applicant. Okay. So we've got the strengths that we want to identify. Now we need to pair those strengths. That what you're going to do is then we're going to tether those things to stories in particular. Okay. So you have non-PT related experiences. So these are going to be like formative experiences in your life. Maybe when you were younger or in high school, that's fine to include some things here. And then you're also going to include PT related experiences or patient interaction experiences. These are going to be ideally within the last 4 to 5 years, which is when most of you have done your shadowing hours. Okay. And again, make sure that your experiences focus on why you are awesome and not having to do with other people. Okay. So start making a list and divide them into 2 columns. These are my non-PT related stories. These are my PT or my patient interaction related stories or experiences. While you guys are kind of writing that down, I'm going to go back to Autumn and Emily's question. Okay. So This is, if you write in your essay, I only want to work with peds, and that's the only patient population I'm interested in working with, then yes, you're going to appear closed-minded. But if you talk about, you know what, as I've been doing my observation hours, I've really found that I've gravitated towards working with children. And I think that's something that I want to explore further. I'm really interested in looking at all aspects of physical therapy, but I have an initial interest in working in pediatrics. What is wrong with that? And if that makes you appear closed-minded, I don't think it does. I think you're just being honest about your interests that you have. If you go in and you're like, I'm only going to work with neuro patients, I only want to work with stroke and TBI patients, and I don't want to learn anything else, then what are you going to do? Right? Then that is very closed-minded. But if you are honest and authentic about who you genuinely want to work with, I don't think that's going to tear down your application. It's just how you present it, right? So if you have that clarity and you understand this is who I want to work with, you can infuse that into your essay. That's going to come up as we get to the later steps of the brainstorming here. Let me look at Ava here. How would I tie in a study abroad and then jump into a PT observation story? We'll get there. Don't worry. Ava, it's as easy as turning one sentence, right? So a lot of times people are like, how am I going to use two different stories? And the reason why I've used two different stories has come as applicants I've worked with try to write about only one story, and using 4,500 characters to write about only one story. I can tell you this, it gets really boring really fast, and people start inflating or exaggerating their experience, and it comes across as disingenuous, and we don't want that. So using two different experiences is going to do a couple things. The first thing is it's going to keep you interesting and relevant, right? It's going to help you snap along, right? It's going to help you keep a good cadence and a good pace during your essay, which is what you want. As your reader is starting to lose some brain activity, maybe they're losing some interest, boom, we change and we give them a new story to focus on. And then they are instantly like, whoa, this is a whole new world, right? Eli, should we include research experiences in our non-related? Go ahead and put them on the list, right? So at this point, I don't want you to commit to anything with this brainstorm, okay? I want you to have this list, and over the next few hours or days, whatever, as you continue to kind of evaluate, you're going to start ranking these different ideas. Some experiences are going to be better than others, right? Like if your research experience was like a very sterile, controlled environment, and there's not a lot of emotional or imagery attachment that we can have to it, and it's just lots of sciencey characters, then lots of sciencey words that you're like, oh yes, this person clearly has a good understanding of anatomy and physiology and biomechanics, but I don't know about them as a person, right? So let's see here. Do you have to use all 4,500 characters when writing your essay? No, you don't have to. Najda, you don't have to. You can use less. It's all about maximizing the characters that you have available to you, though, to help you, right? And that's where it all comes back to, is using those characters to help you and to maximize and give yourself the greatest opportunity to show how you're awesome as an applicant. And if you can do that in 4,200 characters or 4,000 characters, that's fine. It's all about the quality of the content and packing as much value in there as you can. I would challenge you to use all the characters because you can include different things about yourself in that essay, and it's definitely worthwhile to do that. Again, I'm sorry if I apologize the pronunciation of your name. Conwar, how do we tie these stories together? Okay, we're going to get to that as we get to the character count method, okay? That's coming up in just a couple slides. So brainstorming step 4. This is over the next few days, or maybe right now as you're looking at your list, you're like, okay, I like this story a lot and I like this story. I want you to choose one origin story, which is typically not PT related. It certainly can be, but most of the time it isn't PT related because it's initially going to make you stand out and be different, right? And this is going to be used to hook your reader early on. Use lots of imagery, use lots of emotion, okay? Then you're going to choose one patient interaction experience. Again, focusing on experiences that showcase your strengths and look for experiences that are using lots of emotion and imagery, okay? And that show how you're awesome as an applicant. Okay. Some of you might be asking, well, because of COVID, I don't have any patient interaction stories. What do I do? And I don't know, does anyone have those concerns? Go ahead and type in the chat box if you're concerned about that, because that's a big component. If you're having a hard time with this, my recommendation is, whether it's patient related or people related, a lot of these skills are the same. So talk about if you've been involved in a volunteer organization or at your job, if it's not related to physical therapy, how did you go above and beyond to show that you can interact well with people and meet their needs and address their concerns, right? Like that's what the patient interaction stories can talk about. And if you're having a hard time with that, you have 50 hours of acute care. Okay, Lizzie. So sometimes asking yourself the quality of those experiences, right? Including some information where you really demonstrated some strengths. Najda, don't have any inpatient hours. Najda, you're not alone in that. I know that's a very common concern that a lot of applicants have right now, because inpatient is pretty closed just because of COVID restrictions, right? So be grateful for any observation hours you do have. If you have inpatient hours, great. If you can't get inpatient hours, guess what? There's the COVID essay section in PTCAS where you can include, hey, I did this, this, and this to try to get inpatient hours. But due to restrictions in my local area, I wasn't able to get any observation hours, right? Sky, I hope that answers your question or comment or concern as well. So if you only have outpatient hours, use your outpatient hours, because regardless, those soft people skills that you have, those abilities to interact with people, those are going to carry over whether it's an inpatient or an outpatient setting. It's just a different environment, but the skills are the same. Okay. I debated on whether or not I was going to share this with you, because this is something I'm really proud of. The character count method. Guys, let me tell you, this, when I decided to finally come up with this was a game changer for applicants, because a lot of times when you start writing, you just start writing aimlessly and you're like, I hope this goes somewhere. And you just keep going. And then you finally look back and you're like, holy cow, my essay is either way short or way long. And you don't know if you built up or over exaggerated different components of it or wrote about the things that matter the most. So what you're going to do is you're going to break down each essay based on the character count and the content you want to share. Okay. So let's go and look at it. Here's an example for your PTCAS essay. All right. So you have 4,500 characters to work with. That's why there's some variability with these different areas, right? But if you stay in this character count range for each aspect, you're going to be successful, because you're going to maximize how you're using your time and how you're using these characters to help yourself, to really convey your message, to make sure you spend enough time to develop it without oversharing and convoluting your message as a result of that. So, origin story, 1,000 to 1,200 characters. You're going to lay the background, talk about your strengths, give me examples of what you did to be exceptional in that experience. Then you're going to do a recap, which is 500 to 800 characters. This is a quick snapshot of, these are the strengths I just demonstrated in my origin story. And this is why it's going to help me, why it either helped me decide to be a PT, or it helped me discover why I'm going to be an awesome PT, or further solidified my desire to be a PT, whatever. That's what the recap section is for, is to summarize the strengths, talk about why it's going to be relevant as a future physical therapist. Okay. Patient interaction story. You're going to do the same thing. Lay the background, give them the groundwork, share your strengths, 1,000 to 1,200 characters, then do a recap. Same thing as before. And then conclusion. It's going to be 1,000 to 1,200 characters. And then you're going to tie everything back from the brainstorm step one. So you're going to include in this section, this is really why I want to be a physical therapist, right? You're going to summarize, these are the strengths that I demonstrated in these two stories. And then guess what? This is my big why I want to be a physical therapist. These are the different patients that I want to work with. These are the different opportunities that I want to have. This is how I want to change the industry and improve things. And you jam that home. Super powerful, right? Now, a lot of people are asking about, how do I tie these two stories together if they're unrelated? Very easy. You can, in a sentence or two, say, my experience in X, Y, or Z further led me to explore opportunities where I could work with patients in a physical therapy setting. And then boom, you go into a patient interaction story and you talk about, you know, as I was led to further look into physical therapy, I had the opportunity to work with a patient named blank. Remember HIPAA, right? Like change everyone's names. Don't use the facility's name of the patient that you worked with. Like just say a made up name. And if you have to list a therapist's name, change their name and make sure it's known in your essay that you're changing names. Okay. Let me look at Justin right here. Do you recommend only writing one patient interaction story to keep things focused rather than 2 or 3 experiences that build on one another? Justin, this is a great question. And without knowing your specific situation, I'm not sure I could answer that directly. If you there's definitely opportunities when I have what's called a mascot patient, right? So a mascot patient is someone who represents several different patients rolled into one, right? And that's not being dishonest, right? You did those things with those patients. You're just kind of combining multiple experiences into one patient where you show strength after strength after strength. And you're just kind of labeling it all under one person. And that's fine because you still did those things. You're still being honest about it. It's just another way to condense and to synthesize it. I hope that helps, Justin. Okay, let's take a break. I need a drink. I'm getting thirsty. I'm sure you guys are kind of overwhelmed right now too. Guys, if you are like, your brain's humming, you can see how all this stuff is working right now, but you're like, I don't know if I'm quite sure if I'm going to be able to put this all together, right? We've come to the portion of the webinar where I want to share with you my coaching package that I was going to share, okay? So I'm going to break down each of these components. This is everything that you get in the coaching package right here, okay? So you have 2 1-hour coaching sessions, which consist of 2 different parts. The first 30 minutes of that coaching session, you're going to send me a draft of your essay 48 hours before our scheduled appointment. Okay. We schedule an appointment through Calendly and we do a Zoom call or a FaceTime call. And in this half hour, I review and edit your essay and take a look at it and figure out what things we're going to do to make it better. And then we meet together for a half an hour to hone and discuss and figure out how we're going to improve your essay. Okay. So that's how the coaching sessions work. It's by far the most effective way. There's a lot of pre-PT coaches out there that say, just send me your essay and I'll edit it for you. Not as effective. I guarantee you. I've tried that before. It doesn't work. Okay. They just fix grammar and then they end up inevitably writing your essay for you, which is an ethical question. Like that's fraud, right? So I'm going to help you dig out some details and refine some phrasing, but I'm not going to sit there and write your essay for you. Okay. Next, 1 hour of video course content. So this is going to help you further entrench these ideas and help you brainstorm and get some things going. Super valuable. My list of top 25 least expensive DPT programs in the country. It also includes the average accepted GPA, GRE scores, first time licensure pass rate. All of that information, all that research already done for you. Okay. Establishing in-state residency. So if you are smart, you're going to look into if you can establish in-state residency if you're getting accepted as an out-of-state applicant at the schools you're applying to. Because this could literally save you tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in the long term because of accrued interest, right? So between those 2 resources right there, the least expensive programs and the in-state residency, tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars in savings just because of that. PTCAS checklist. I can say this confidently, you guys. This is the most comprehensive, thorough, and effective PTCAS document, follow-through document that exists on the pre-PT market. I can tell you that confidently. Now, this can take you from not filling out PTCAS at all whatsoever to being done with PTCAS and your application essays, everything in 2 weeks. So you could be done and submit. If you went, a little quicker, you could be done and submit by July 1st. If you went through this PTCAS checklist, hadn't touched PTCAS at all yet, and started filling everything out. It takes you through, it helps you navigate working on the different areas that you need to the most. Okay, these next ones are kind of self-explanatory. Self-evaluation worksheet. Further help you develop these ideas that we've talked about. PTCAS and supplemental application organization table. You've got to keep all your deadlines in order. I've given you a table right here where you can use to just plug and play and start using and keep yourself organized so you can get your essays done in an appropriate time and fashion. Sample essays. So these are essays from people who've gotten into PT school that I've brought back, and they give you the opportunity to brainstorm and say like, oh, this is a good idea. I like this one. Maybe I don't like this one. These essays aren't perfect, but they give you a good idea of where to start. And these are people who got in using these essays. Okay, application, checkup, and what if calculator. You plug in your GPA, your GRE, references, observation hours, and you figure out where you maybe have some areas of weakness in your application and if there's anything you can do in the meantime to improve your application. Super helpful, right? If you haven't taken the GRE yet, I know a lot of people have been reaching out to me about GRE prep. My GRE prep resource list includes an 8-week study plan and 12 free online practice tests that are out there and a bunch of other free resources that you can use. It can save you hundreds or thousands of dollars from signing up for an expensive prep class, okay? Reference request template. If you're having a hard time asking your references if they would be references for you, I literally have done it for you. You just copy and paste, fill in the person's name, bada bing, bada boom, you're done. Then, list of programs that look at the last 60 credit hours of your GPA. Maybe you have a bunch of, maybe you had a bunch of classes that you took your freshman year that you didn't do so well. And you're looking for programs that look more intensely at the last 60 credit hours of your GPA as opposed to your cumulative GPA. I've got that for you. List of programs that do not require the GRE. These are programs that consistently do not look for it, right? There's some programs that are making accommodations due to COVID, but these are programs that consistently do not look at the GRE. If you're someone who's like, I'm not a good test taker, I don't think I want to take the GRE, that list is for you. My physical therapist financial manifesto is the synthesis of all the different pieces of advice that you can get to effectively minimize your debt in physical therapy school and to maximize your pace for becoming financially independent sooner in life. It's all of the finance is my other love. I love learning about finance and using your money and being able to be effective and be smart with it. All of the different pieces of information are included in that document. My pre-PT to SPT survival guide has to do with how can I help you make the jump from a pre-PT to an SPT, right? Because you're jumping from bachelor's to graduate level coursework, and there's some bumps and some bruises that come along with that. But if I can smooth the ride out for you, give you all these different resources, ideas, perspectives, insights to help you, it can help you get so much more out of your DPT degree and help you start practicing at the top of your license even sooner. Last one, recommended textbook and reading list. So this is me going around interviewing student physical therapists and asking them, of all the textbooks that are listed for you to get, how many of them did you actually use? Pro tip, not very many. Just being honest with you, because most of your professor's information is going to be on their slides. That's what you're going to get tested on. So I list in this document the books that are actually useful and that people actually used and help them study for the boards. Not very many of those books. This could literally save you thousands of dollars from not buying expensive textbooks. My reading list, I'm a big reader. I love audiobooks. This is a synthesis of different books that I recommend that are life changers in finance, in self-development, in physical therapy, in being able to take care of yourself, different things, right? And that list is all provided for you. Kind of like my favorite things put in one place, tremendous value there, okay? So let's look at the total value of this package. This isn't what it costs, but this is the total value of this package. If you were to put this up and compare it to my competitors in the market right now, okay? And these numbers are even conservative. So that's right around $1,500. But let's talk about what other value you have. Not having to reapply. Like I said, applicants who work with me, 90% success rate to 50 to 60% success rate. So you can save $700 in future application fees if you're applying to 10 programs. Saving at least $3,000 from not having to purchase unnecessary textbooks. Getting 1 year closer to $60,000 to $90,000 starting DPT salary. Learning how to master your finances and pay off debt. Tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars potentially saved here. Maximizing your time, your control, your opportunities, being able to move forward with your life. Guys, like this goes so much further than just your essays. This is a life-altering, course-correcting opportunity. In addition to that, the value that you get, like I said, we're emotional people, right? Humans are emotional beings. You, by getting accepted, I can't tell you, when I got accepted to the 5 programs that I got accepted to, I just felt over the moon. I felt like a winner. I had achieved my goals. I'd silenced my own personal doubts. I helped my family and my wife in particular be proud of me. And I could see that they had just seen all my hard work pay off, right? My future was secure. I felt I belonged in this community. I had respect and admiration from my peers. And in general, I just felt accepted. I want to tell you one story real quick. So I guess you call her my grandmother-in-law, so my wife's grandma, when she found out I got accepted into physical therapy school, we were at a little family reunion event. She literally grabbed me by the hand and took me around to everyone and said, have you met Sean? He just got into a doctor of physical therapy program. This is my grandson-in-law. He just married my granddaughter, Tesley. And do you know how hard it is to get into physical therapy school? And I can't tell you, you can't buy that type of feeling, you guys. Don't you want to have that? To be able to go and to just have that beaming pride that you did it. You did something hard and worthwhile and you made it, right? Doesn't mean that you don't ask for help, but you did it. You put in the work, you put in the time and the energy. So here's the difference. If you go right now on my website, you can buy this for $300. But guess what? Because you guys are here today, showing that you are invested, that you are locked in, that you want to maximize your application, I'm offering a 15% off promotion that's going to run for the next, that's going to run until Tuesday morning. Okay. You get all this value for $255. Now I'm going to pull up this. There we go. So if you use at checkout the promo code PREPT15, there's the payment option if you want to break it up over a period of time. And remember, guys, I've only got 40 spots available. And so you can jump on right now. Go ahead, lock in your position. I want to work with you guys. I want to be there. I want to help you as far as that goes, right? And there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. So I'm going to leave that offer up there. I hope you guys will take advantage of this because I'm here. I'm invested in you. I want to help you be successful and to transform your life and the opportunities that you have going forward. So I'm going to leave that offer up. Go ahead, take advantage of it. Use the promo code. It's going to last for the next few days. But remember, the spots are limited and they could be gone by the end of today. I don't know. It all just depends, right? So with that being said, thank you guys so much for taking the time to come on. If you've got questions, I'm going to go back through and try to address everyone's questions that I missed. And if you want to stick around, awesome. I'm going to be here to help you with essay questions or PTCAS questions in particular. Okay. All right. Eli. So does the reference request template include how to ask for a recommendation letter? That is exactly what the reference request template is. Eli is having trouble figuring out how to. Let me see. Hold on a second. She was open to writing one of my letters, but I'm having trouble figuring out how to ask after not being in contact for a year. Okay. Eli, I've got you covered. Okay. And if you get signed up and you start working with me and you have more questions about that go beyond using the template, you've got me. Like, I am in your corner. As soon as you sign up, I'm 100% invested in you. We're going to get you there. Any questions that you have, I'm on board. Right. So the template does include that. It includes that and it gives you some options. It's very well written and laid out and gives you, you need to write some personalized things. It's not like completely done, but after you add some of the personalized areas, then you're ready to rock and roll. Okay. All right, Justin, in terms of patient experience, do you recommend writing about your experience working with one specific patient, or could it be a group of people? So good question, Justin. I think there's value in both, but in terms of helping us to really, physical therapy is a one-on-one profession, right? Like, as much as we think it's about the whole clinic, it's about making those interactions one-on-one. And that is the value that you're going to add as a physical therapist. So for me, I think I would do more of a one-on-one example. Let's see here. With that too, you mentioned not mentioning the specific clinic you worked at. Will the name of your college fall under that if you worked with student athletes as an athletic medicine assistant at your college? So Justin, they're going to know which school you went to by your application. So that's kind of a given. It's fine to include that. Just make sure that you change the name of the athlete, or you keep things fairly ambiguous and it's not easily connectable back to them. If this was like a high profile injury, I would be careful with how much information you share. Just if you're going to go through and say this athlete had, ACL, MCL, medial meniscus tear, and it was during this time to this time, like that's too specific, right? So you could say they had ACL reconstruction surgery. How many athletes each year have ACL reconstruction surgery, right? There's tens of thousands, right? So as a result of that, you can stay fairly ambiguous. And I hope that helps answer that question, Justin. Kelly, if you're really struggling with the experiences to focus on in your essay, can we meet with you once before starting a draft so we get a better idea of what direction to go in? So, Jessica, that's a great question. So what I'd recommend is if you are having cold feet about this, right, you can sign up using the payment plan option today, which the payment plan option for the month is the same cost as if you were going to meet with me one-on-one. I haven't rolled that out yet because I want to get all my essay package people first. But if you want to do a one-on-one meeting, you could always shoot me an email and we could discuss an option with that. But sign up, do the payment plan option, and then if you're not satisfied with the direction that we're going, you can get a refund. Okay. And that's what I'd recommend right there. Eli, awesome. Thank you. Thanks, Eli. Ava, I have a C in physics 2, but my prereq GPA is a 3.6. Should I retake the class? Okay. So Ava, I've learned you don't give blanket statements to things like this when it has to do with anything with prereqs. So if that is the case, if that's your situation, you need to contact the programs that you are interested in applying to and ask them if they will accept that. If not, you need to figure out, okay, well, can I retake this? Do I have time to retake it? And if you say to the program, hey, I'm retaking this in the fall, would you guys be okay with that? Then that's definitely something I would recommend asking them directly. But the main thing is contact the programs you're interested in, explain your situation, and then see what they say from there. Hope that's helpful, Ava. Annie and Lizzie, you're welcome. Thank you so much. I'm grateful that you guys have found this valuable and that you took the time to come on. All right, let's see. Hold the PTCAS application dashboard. Looks like PTCAS want me to have experiences and achievements, respectively. However, I'm thinking about writing out my resume exclusively. Let's see here. Writing. Even resume acceptable as well. Okay. I think I know what you're asking here, Holly. So what I'm looking at is in a lot of ways, you're going to take your resume and you're going to take those entries and put them onto PTCAS. So it's not like there's some supplemental applications that programs have you do where you have to upload an updated resume. And a lot of times it is redundant, but the experiences section and the achievements section, you can literally copy and paste information from your resume and use that there. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. If you've already done it, then that could be helpful as well. So I hope that's been helpful for you. All right, Justin, good. Olivia, one school that I was planning on applying to, Western, requires a Casper test instead of the GRE. Taking the GRE in July, but would you recommend also try that test and apply there? So Olivia, there's more and more schools that are taking the Casper test or are looking at the Casper test because it's much more indicative of who you are as a person. And I haven't done a deep dive into it because it's started to become more and more common. I honestly haven't been able to do a ton of research yet, but from what I understand, the preparation for it is not nearly as rigorous as the GRE. So I would definitely do some more research into the Casper test and what's required of you. A lot of it has to do with just who you are as a person and how you would handle certain situations. And it's kind of like your emotional intelligence or your emotional abilities, things like that. So if you feel overwhelmed, what I would do is I would say, okay, I'm going to focus on taking the GRE and I'm going to study for that, get that out of the way, and then knock out my Casper test. And that's all hingent upon you looking at your application deadlines and saying, which schools do I need to have things ready for at what time? And as long as you're meeting your deadlines for that, you have to go one at a time. You can't say, I've got to get ready for Casper, I've got to get ready for the GRE and write my application essays. Like, there are opportunities for you to do multiple things at once, but the big focus needs to be, I'm focused on the GRE right now. I'm writing my application essays. and just be intentional about getting the next step done as long as it meets your timeline with applying. So I hope that's helpful, Olivia. Okay, let's see here. So Maria, you sent me this private chat, but I think it's a good question for me to ask or to respond to for everyone. Would they count experience hours from another country? So that, again, needs to be a question that you ask each program specifically, because licensing credentials are different in different countries. You may have run into some issues with that. Now, I know there's a lot of people who've been able to do like study abroads where they do physical therapy observation in different countries. A lot of schools really like that, and it gives a good perspective and a difference of opinion as far as that goes. So that's what I would do. I would take a look and say, hey, email the program, let them know your situation about how many hours you have, about the education requirements of that physical therapist, and see if they will accept those hours. If they do, great. If they don't, then you at least have the information. You might still put it on your application, but they may not weigh it as much. So I hope that's helpful, Maria. Okay, Alvin. During the pandemic, I was working with PTs in the ICU, proning intubated and sedated COVID patients. No direct physical therapy observation performed on this patient. Do you still consider this as physical therapy experience? I would, but I'd have to ask you if you have outpatient experiences where you've got more person-to-person interaction, because these people are intubated, you're not doing a ton with them, right? There's not a lot of emotional connection being had. And I think that makes it a difficult essay to sell, because it's hard to really, like, we feel sad and we feel awful for that person because of the situation that they're in, but there's not a lot that you're doing that's showcasing your strengths per se. So I would explore other options, Alvin, to see if you've got any other patient interaction experiences. Okay. Maria, would they count experiences back from another country? Okay, yeah. So that's one I just answered. Jason, I worked with a PT that has experience in neuro and vertigo. He wasn't certified, licensed specifically in this category. Okay. So Jason, as long as he's a licensed physical therapist, we receive training in PT school to work with neuro and vertigo, right? So what you'll do under your observation hours is you're going to select the different types of patient populations that you observed. You can include neurological, vestibular, all that stuff, right? And even if they don't have like an NCS or like a neuro specialty certification, a neuro certification specialty, then we still can treat it. Because I work with vestibular patients all the time, even though I just have my DPT. I don't have a residency or a special certification in addition to that. Jessica, do you also offer help with supplemental essays? Yes, I absolutely do. Anything that has to do with any essays at all, I'm there. I gotcha, right? So you get the 2 initial calls, and then if you need to add any additional ones from there, there's a significant discount as you go on a case-by-case basis from there. So Jessica, yes, I help out with anything. At this point, once you get signed up with me, like we're joined at the hip, whatever you need, I'm here for you, okay? And I'm not exclusively a PTCAS guy. In fact, the majority of my essays last year were from supplemental essays, because everyone only has one PTCAS essay, but applicants have like, as many as sometimes as 10 additional supplemental essays, or even more than that. They can have like 20. The most I've seen was 20, and that's just overwhelming, right? So I help out with all kinds of essays, whether it's PTCAS, supplemental, whether it's having to do with essays that are on like a school specific application outside of PTCAS, whatever you need help with, I'm here for you. Sky, if we pay for coaching, are you willing to help with other questions? Absolutely. Yeah, no, I'm here for you, Sky. Like, the focus is on essays, but remember, I've got all these years of experience, so I'm in your corner. I'm here to help you regardless of what you need. I'm here. Okay. When do we receive documents after we sign up and pay? So once you sign up, Ava, you're going to get access to all of the documents. You just log into your teachable.com account. That's the company that hosts all my video course content. And you will be able to schedule your appointments from there. You will be able to access all the documents from there. And right now, once I get everyone signed up, if we're having a big backlog with people being able to get in terms of scheduling, I'm going to open up my schedule more. I just needed to see what the supply and demand needed to be first, because right now things are a little bit slower as the application was like, the old application was winding down and we were getting to start up here. So I was just going to adapt my schedule as I need. And Ava, if you have any issues after you get signed up, you can just email me at info. I'm just going to put this here. info@physicaltherapyapplicationcoach.com. If you have any questions at all, whether it's about coaching services, whatever, right? Since we send transcripts to PTCAS, do we need to send them to each school as well? As long, this is Annie's question. Annie, as long as that program participates in PTCAS, which is like 95% of DPT schools, then you only have to send it to PTCAS. That's the whole point of PTCAS, is to centralize it so you don't have to send transcripts everywhere. But you have to make sure that that program participates in PTCAS. There's only a few that don't. There's not a lot of them. But as long as they do and you send your transcript to PTCAS, PTCAS verifies it, and then they send your application to that program, and then they let them know, yes, this person's legit. They have they've got a transcript that has been verified by us, and it's good to go. So I hope that's helpful. Alrighty, guys. Any last minute questions? There's still quite a few of you on here. I got another few minutes. I do have a coaching call that I need to jump on in just a bit, but for right now, I'm still available. Let me just double check. Yeah, so I've got about 15 minutes before my next call. I'm not going to stay on the call if you guys are done. I'm sure you got other things going on and you are busy, but thank you guys so much for taking the time to jump on. And I'll just wait another few minutes if anyone else has any other questions. And I look forward to working with those of you who signed up. I've gotten a bunch of emails already. If you're thinking about it or you're wondering about it, go ahead, sign up, guys. You can get your money back. No questions asked. Okay. Thank you, Olivia. Thanks, Emily. How does the money back guarantee work? Okay, great question. So, Zach, going back to this. So the money back guarantee works. You have 30 days. Once you purchase your package, Teachable.com handles all of my transactions, right? So they deal with all the stuff on the back end with the credit cards or the payment options. If you, for whatever reason, aren't satisfied, you're going to contact Teachable and request a refund, and they'll give you your money back, no questions asked, okay? So I don't personally handle the refund process, and I do everything I can to work with you to make the process satisfactory. I've never had someone request a refund to this date, but that option is there if you are unsatisfied. Yeah. Okay, Maria, does this have an expiration date or something like that? No, I have some applicants that are holdovers from last cycle who still haven't used their sessions. But if you are not applying this cycle, I would recommend that you wait and let's let the people who are applying this cycle fill up those spots so they have the priority. I'm not saying I don't want to work with you, but if you've got some time between now and when you're applying, if you're applying like next application cycle, let's stay in contact and then we can get you signed up then. I also have consultation coaching packages available for people who just like want general help with their application, if that's what you're talking about, Maria. But if you're applying this cycle, no, it doesn't have an expiration date. So if you want to sign up now, but you're not going to be working on your essays until a few months from now, that's totally fine. We'll just stay in contact and you let me know what your plan is and we'll make sure that we have availability for you. If you're like, okay, I've got some crazy stuff going on. Maybe you've got like family vacations, weddings, whatever, like something's happening this summer. And you're like, I'm not going to be able to start my application until like August, which it's a bummer, but whatever. Your life is your life and you need to do what you need to do. So if you have issues like that, you can go ahead and contact me and just say, hey, I signed up, but I want to make sure that you know that I'm not going to be starting my coaching sessions until later. I will keep regular contact with you guys if to remind you like, hey, if you haven't used your coaching sessions, let's get you signed up, just to make sure we keep things nice and clean from a coaching perspective and that we're getting you guys to use the services that you sign up for. Do you have information on what you offer in the package again? I can go back. So here's all the different things right here. Conwar, I'll go ahead and leave that there for you so you can look at it. Let's see. Will there going to be recommendation forms sent out to my evaluators by? Okay, so I think again, Holly, correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm not answering your question correctly, but when you put in your reference request into PTCAS is going, once you send it or request it, PTCAS is going to send that person an email. It's always a good idea to email the person after you send it, because sometimes those emails end up in people's junk folder, and then they have an evaluation form that they're going to complete. And then there's also the component where they upload a letter of recommendation where they talk about you. Okay. Excuse me. Sorry. So I hope that answers your question. If I'm missing something there, just let me know. Okay. Jason, working as a PT clinic as an aide, and I decided to switch jobs to have better income. No. So Jason, I did the same thing, especially after I got married. I became a research assistant, and then I had another on school job that I signed up for, on program job, and so I just did whatever I could do to make the most money. If you already have your observation hours at this point, sounds like you've got a lot of clinical experience. Don't worry about it. You did awesome, and just save up money as best you can right now. You're being smart. It doesn't mean that if your PT job is the best job you have, your PTA job, then keep it. But if you have the opportunity to make more money elsewhere, go for it. And that's smart. That's what I did. That's a lot of applicants do. There's kind of a limited utility that observation hours have after a while. If you're like, okay, I know I want to do this and I could go make money somewhere else, then go do it and maximize your opportunities. Yes, Jessica, the promo code works for both options. So it works for either the one-time purchase or the payment plan. Yes. Okay, perfect. All right, Holly, that answered your question. Awesome, guys. Okay. Just wait another couple minutes. I've got time. I'm here to help, and I'm excited to work with you guys. Sounds like there's a good amount of you that are already signed up, and there'll probably be more after we have the replay that gets sent out. So you guys it's my homies for the next few months. We'll get to know each other really well, and I'm here for you guys. We're in each other's corner, and I'm gonna go to bat for you however I can. Okay. If there's no more questions, I'll probably hang out about another minute. Thanks, Jessica. Yeah, no problem. I'm excited to work with you. But yeah, if you guys have anything in one more minute, I'll be here to answer questions. And then I do have to hop off and get ready for my next call because we're busy. It's time to hustle. Time to get to work. Application season has begun. We are in full swing. Just wait for this chat to upload. It's lagged a little bit behind. Thanks, Justin. Excited to work with you too. Where did we get the replay? So, Jason, the replay will be sent out. I think it's about an hour after after the event concludes. So you should be getting an email. You're going to get 4 emails that will have the replay link over the next few days. If you don't get the replay email for whatever reason, go ahead and send me an email at info@physicaltherapyapplicationcoach.com. But I've never had issues with the replay going out. So you'll get it a little bit later today, and then a few hours later, and then tomorrow and the next day. Do you provide this presentation only once every cycle? So Holly, I've provided different webinars. So what I'm looking at now is potentially doing 4 webinars a year. So one that's geared towards PTCAS essays, one that's geared towards supplemental essays, one that's geared towards interviews, and one that's geared towards like general application consulting and coaching. But for right now, with this application cycle, because I'm only taking 50 customers, I'm probably, if I fill up my customer amount, which I'm optimistic that I will, based on today's response and other people that I know are going to purchase, then I may not do any additional webinars, or I may wait until interview season to do another one. It really just depends. But this will be the last time this information is available. The replay is going to be available for 72 hours after the event. So after Tuesday morning, the replay is not going to work anymore. And just so you are aware of that. Okay, thanks, Maria. I'm grateful that this was helpful for you. Okay, guys, I am going to go ahead and jump off now. If you do have any additional questions, you can go ahead and email me at info@physicaltherapyapplicationcoach.com. And you guys, good luck with the application. All right. I'm really excited to work with those of you who signed up. If you have questions or you're like, hey, maybe I want to work with you in the future, I have some more questions about the product, let me know. Okay. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.